PathMonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding PathMonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Welcome back to PathMonk Presents. We're really excited to have today's guest on the show. We've got Vilma Edwards from Beamery. How you doing today?
All good, thank you. Very excited to be here and be speaking with you.
Of course, thanks for joining. Before we dive too far into the marketing and growth and digital efforts that you guys are doing over at Beamery, I was hoping we might be able to open things up with a nice, easy question, and you could give us a little background about the company. Why don't you tell us about Beamery and what it's all about?
Sounds great. So Beamer is a talent lifecycle management software, and we help the world's largest businesses tackle their talent challenges. And we do this with our AI power platform, and we provide a real-time insights into the workforce skills. So yeah, we help businesses to hire, optimize their workforce. We do this with our insights into skills they have, and that essentially helps organizations to make more productive and equitable workforce.
Awesome. In a different part of my life, I was actually a recruiter back in the day, and I feel like this could have been a really helpful tool for me. But
Yes.
that was in a different part of my life much earlier when I was living back in the States. To focus a little bit on Beamery and what you guys are doing from kind of like a digital and growth perspective, why don't you tell us about who you serve? Like, who is the audience and what sort of problems are you solving for them?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we work exclusively with enterprise businesses who have very complex setups and requirements and very complex talent management needs. And we predominantly work with industries that are financial technologies, construction, just any large enterprise businesses that have over 10,000 employees. We're best suited for them, really.
And are there any particular, let's say, buying personas or types of people that you're looking to work with within these types of companies? I would imagine maybe it's some people within HR or something like that, or
Yeah.
specifically within hiring, but maybe you can tell me kind of about the specific people that you guys are targeting and working with.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So it's all kind of like talent managers, talent acquisition managers, anyone who's looking after skills transformation within their organization, even digital transformation, CROs, really the people who really care about transforming their businesses
Mm.
and their talent specifically. So it's anyone within the organization that is connected or interconnected leadership level with HR that would care about making sure that the right skills are within the organization, that they're training people in the right way, that the skills are redeployed, and it's really about making sure that business can transform into the stages that it's needed, especially as we go more and more into this space of transformation within, AI as well.
That's good. And staying on the topic of kind of growth in digital, specifically about Beamery, how does this audience typically find out about you? Like, are there any acquisition channels that you guys are really focusing on at the moment?
Yes, yeah. I mean, a lot of our audience actually find out about us through word of mouth because we work with some of the largest organizations in the world, and we have built an amazing reputation in the industry. But when they don't find out about us through word of mouth, their former colleagues or anyone within that influence, then we do quite a lot of digital advertising, so paid social, paid search. We optimize our SEO. And we also attend a lot of trade shows and industry events where people hear about us as well.
Hmm. Um, I want to know a little bit about kind of these digital strategies that you guys are doing. I know there's probably a lot of SEO, a lot of PPC.
Yeah.
Like you said, word of mouth is obviously big, but you're not going to rely on that 24/7, right? So like maybe you could tell me kind of about what sort of efforts are going into these digital channels, and are you focusing on any one of them specifically at the moment, or is it kind of like across the board? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is across the board, but paid social and LinkedIn specifically is a very large part of our strategy. So we do quite a lot of paid advertising and organic growth as well through LinkedIn specifically. Paid search obviously is really important because very often people discover about us going through search, be that paid or organic, where they discover through us about us as well. So yeah, I would say those are the two kind of like predominant channels from digital perspective. But as I already mentioned, like we also do quite a lot of trade shows and events and webinars, and I would say and we also put up our own events. Like we have a largest event happening 2 or 3 years in a row already, which is called Spark Live. So quite a lot of our efforts are focused on that too. So I would say it's a robust marketing mix for sure, but digitally, I would say paid social is the largest for us.
Interesting. Interesting. I always find it really interesting, and I'm always curious to know about like why certain companies end up focusing on certain areas. I would imagine because of the type of audience that you guys are
Yes, yeah.
targeting, LinkedIn is probably really big for them. They're always on LinkedIn
Oh,
looking for
yeah,
talent and things like
yeah.
this. And is that just kind of the natural progression for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like our audience is engaging with LinkedIn, as you already mentioned. They spend a lot of time, be that like just looking at candidates or reading thought leadership, or just that's part of their job, really, like especially in HR, to really understand that space. And I don't think there's any other channel that is like best suited for getting that audience at scale. But then also I would say like from targeting perspective as well, it's very, very high quality, quite accurate targeting. So you can get down to the companies, to the right job titles, to really the right people. And in the kind of mix of those assets that we're able to launch as well as we're quite diverse. There's robust ways like through video, through images, through carousel, through email, through so many different interesting means how you can get in touch with that audience. So yeah, we use it quite a lot for that as well.
And ultimately, no matter where they find you or where they hear about you, ultimately, like we want to drive them back to the website, and
Yeah.
ultimately we want to see some sort of conversions there. So I want to know like what sort of role does the website play in terms of client acquisition? Is it more of like a lead converting tool, or do you see it more as kind of like a client education tool? And are there any sort of major strengths or weaknesses to the website at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of a both. I would say our website is an absolutely fundamental core component of our client acquisition strategy, and it kind of serves both as the primary platform for us showcasing who we are, what we're all about. It's the means where they can read about our case studies, awards that we have. There's tons of resources that really kind of like showcase how we are able to work with organizations, assist them as well. And it's also a means for conversion for us because obviously you're able to submit a demo request and get in touch with us through our website as well. So it's a bit of a both. It's definitely the educational part and showcasing our value proposition and getting people understand who we are and what we're all about. But then it's also the lead generation channel because ultimately we want people to come over to our website, understand our value proposition, and then convert off the back of it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people kind of talk about this balance between wanting to convert, but also wanting to
Yeah.
educate, not wanting to give away too much
Yeah.
information, but also wanting to give them enough to keep them interested. It seems like one of these classic themes about like
Yeah.
how much of the secret sauce do you want to tell
Yeah.
them about versus how much does it take to actually get them to convert?
Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting because I think, yeah, of course, there is that balance, but I think it's really important to bring it back to our product and who we are and what we're trying to achieve. Because obviously, like skills and organizational transformation is really hard. Like, it's really complex. We work with some of the largest enterprise organizations in the world where that transformation can take a really long time. And our product is like, it's very flexible in the way that we're able to apply this to our clients and to their organizational needs. So website wouldn't be able to answer all of the questions, and how that integrates within their processes. It wouldn't be able to answer, how does the system exactly work? So for that, you really need to speak with sales and with people who are really well trained to identify the needs of the organizations and then tailor that solution. I think if we were able to answer it in a very single-minded way, we probably would, because I don't believe personally in a black box approach. I don't think it benefits anyone. If you have a clear understanding of what the product is, and you're really bought onto it, then you're able, you will convert. So what's the reason for you to hold back the information? So we definitely don't do that. It's just, I think it's very complex to showcase everything that we're capable of, because the solutions are very tailored to organizations because of who we work with.
Yeah, that's really well said. And staying on the topic of the website, in terms of like what sort of steps you guys have taken to ensure that you have a great converting website, are there any sort of like tools or tips or approaches that you guys have taken or that you might recommend to others?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a lot of tools that we use in understanding what goes on with our website. It's obviously the standard kind of GA4, and we're migrating it to server, so we have better understanding of our data. But we also use heat mapping tools, Crazy Egg, that helps us understand how people engage from the scroll perspective. Where do they want to click, and where maybe we don't have links, but where they want to click. And then we also use a lot of user testing tools. So we gather actual user feedback from our core audience, and we do this from unstructured user feedback. So we just ask some questions, and we make sure that they fit the right profile, and we gather the feedback as well. So it's a quite robust methodology. I would say it's a mix between data analytic tools that are available to us, but also heat mapping and user feedback.
Yeah, having the right data analytics and a good tech stack, and obviously putting a lot of time and effort into figuring out what that's going to look like. Um,
Yes.
I want to move a little less away from Beamery and a little more into Vilma as the marketing and growth professional. And so the next couple questions are going to be focused more so on you. And maybe you can start by telling me, like, from a day-to-day perspective, what are some of
Yeah.
the key tasks that you are focusing on?
Yeah, I mean, I work cross-functionally with lots of different stakeholders across the business. I work with marketing operations, with revenue operations, with sales, with our analytics team. I also work with finance and our own kind of like a digital team. And very often I'm either involved in or leading quite complex cross-channel projects. So I would say my role really varies day to day. Sometimes it's about getting stuck in and solving some issues hands-on, and other times about providing that clarity to the team in what needs to be sort of like, or the direction where we're moving, or sometimes about crunching the numbers or filling in the gaps. So I would say it's really, really diverse. But some of the bigger projects that I'm focused on, of course, at the moment for us is the website experience, because I think it's really important for us to stay ahead of the game and always evolve and make sure that we apply the user feedback, that we really understand the direction where the industry is moving in, and that we also provide the clarity and the messaging within how we go to market from the digital experiences perspective. So I would say, if we zoom in on my time right this moment as we talk, it's all about getting that digital experience revamped at Beamery. Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
exciting. It's a
It
lot
is.
of work though.
Yeah, of course. And especially when you have your hands in all these different departments and everyone looking to have a meeting with you, like how do you find time for yourself to focus on your tasks? So I know how difficult that can be. I also want to talk about how we're always trying to kind of grow, learn, improve upon ourselves. And I know that there's a lot of different places that you can go in order to kind of find this type of content to kind of get faster, smarter, but stronger, all these things. So where do you go to kind of to learn and improve upon yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, when you talk about taking time for yourself, I'm actually quite meticulous about this. So I do block time in my diary both for learning and also for making sure that I get my stuff done because, as you said, like meetings, it just is wild. But I would say learning is actually one of the most important things for me, and it's also one of the best benefits at Beamery. So we have the learning days, and at the moment, I do lots of different, how to say, not channels, but sources for this. So I do quite a few courses on Coursera. So I've done the UX design and I'm currently doing the app development course just because I think it's interesting and no particular reason, but just really want to learn it. It's a little bit different. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm also watching masterclass. Have you watched
Mhm.
anything from
I
masterclass?
haven't seen any master classes myself, but I am constantly seeing the ads.
Bombarded.
Yeah, I'll be watching like a YouTube video and then an ad pops up. It's always a master class, right? It's always, yeah. I think the most recent one
That's
I
true.
saw was Tina Fey or Amy Poehler trying to teach me how to do improv or something like that.
Yeah.
I was close to clicking and I really was, but
Yeah, yeah.
master
But
class looks
masterclass
awesome.
is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I've done a couple of years of masterclass and I just actually renewed it a couple of weeks ago because I was like, no, and you know what? It was really useful. It has a lot of like really good courses for broadening your horizon. So if I go to Coursera to learn some skills on how to do particular things, then on Coursera it's more about like the thought leadership. It's about kind of like broadening your horizons. Like I watched one with Natalie Portman on acting. I mean, I'm not interested in acting whatsoever, but it's very interesting to see how people in that industry construct and how they work with it. It just kind of broadens your perspective. So I love it. And actually, this morning I was watching another one on leadership from a guy who was used to in the Navy. And it's interesting to hear different perspectives. So I love masterclass as well for that reason.
Yeah, different perspectives, different approaches, always something to learn.
100%. 100%. And then my third one is probably that I also use is Udemy. But in Udemy, I do specific module, like specific courses. So it's not I don't have a long-term relationship with it, unlike Masterclass or Coursera. But I do a short learning on particular technical skills, like the marketing operations platform, for example. So I'd use it for that sort of stuff. But yeah, I always have something going on. So any given moment, you ask me what I'm studying, I probably have a few things going on this.
Always learning, always learning. I hear that. So the next couple questions we're moving into are what we call the rapid fire round.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for are kind of like short, crisp, top of mind answers, right? So they're a little bit more playful. They're not necessarily going to be focused on Beamery or you as a marketing
Yeah.
individual, but a little bit more playful. So I'll start you out with a nice easy one. What's the last book that you read?
Siblings Without Rivalry. It's really good. I have two kids and I recommend this to anybody who have children. Yeah, it's by Adele Faber and Elaine Maslish. Really
Mm,
recommend it. It's amazing.
I should add it to my list, especially growing up as a triplet.
Oh, triplet, no way! Stop!
I only know life as being rivals, right? So
Oh my goodness.
that's a separate conversation. Um, okay, the next question. If there were no boundaries in technology, what would be one thing that you would want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I would want this perfect real-time attribution mechanism across all channels and all touch points, working perfectly, integrating perfectly, and just
Yeah,
being that one mega platform that actually connects the dots. So yes, can I have that, please?
yeah. So you are definitely one of many people who have also said that on this show.
Yeah.
Lots of people are like attribution, please, from all places, all into one central location, please. Okay, next question. If there was one repetitive task that you could automate, what would it be?
I think it goes back to the same sort of like measurement. It probably would be like the treating and the cleansing of the data. Because sometimes, like when you are working on more complex measurement projects as well, which is another thing going on at the moment for myself at Beamery, I think you spend a lot of time trying to make things work. And very often you kind of have to apply some kind of logic or you have to accept that there's going to be inaccuracies, or there's going to be some manual input because of the way the systems connect, or you end up like rinsing that data and like really trying to align it. So, and it can be very repetitive, but also like very error prone thing to do.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I'd say, yeah, that for sure.
Yeah, and if you make one sort of error, it all falls apart, right? So
Yeah, yes, yeah. Either that or you just make it completely inaccurate, and then what's the point in that?
exactly, then you're
Yeah.
just reporting wrong numbers.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and the last question, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, I think if I would have to restart it, I would do it all over again in the same way I've done it so far. Like I don't think I would I have like no regrets. But I think staying curious is really important, and also operating with the most collaborative mindset, I think, is really important. Very often people can get really sour about some details, or they could get demotivated if something's not going their way. But I think like seeing through that is really important. So that's actually advice I often give to other people, when they get upset by minor things that are not going their way, they kind of like give up easily. But I would say staying curious and having a grit is really important. So continuing on that. But personally, on my own journey, if I would have to do it, I would do it all over again. So
That's
yeah.
really nice to hear. That's really nice to hear. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. So, Vilma, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining.
thank you for
We
having
we
me.
really appreciate you joining. Anyone out there that's looking to increase the talent within their companies, go check out Beamery. Vilma, so much. Thank
Thank
you
you
so much
so
for
much.
joining today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.